أهلا وسهلا فيكم متابعينا، حلقة جديدة من برنامج شرايها عليا. معكم عليا المؤيد، واليوم عندي ضيف بنتكلم عن الحياة وأهمية الحياة لكي نعرف أيضا كيف نموت. طبعا الأعمار بيد الله، ولكن ضيفي اليوم اسمه الأستاذ أرسين باموكسوزر، تركي الجنسية، وعنده مصحات في تركيا، وبنتكلم اليوم عن هذا الموضوع باللغة الإنجليزية، ولكن في تعريب للحلقة كلها بإمكانكم تحصلون على الترجمة العربية بضغط على الإعدادات ويطلع لكم العربي. Thank you very much, Mr. Ersin, for coming to the show today. I have known you for a few years, and this is the first time that we actually have an interview, but I'm very impressed by your work. I'm very interested in what you do. I like the way you think. And today I wanted to pick your brain a bit because the topic that I have today is something that I hear a lot. When you tell people to change their food and their diet, they tell you we only live once and let me eat whatever I want. So my argument is that it's correct, we all live once and we all will die, but it's also about the quality of how you die. So it is said that people today with the common lifestyle today, modern lifestyle, modern eating, modern thinking, people are dying longer. So it takes them, their death drags as well. You know, they get sick and then they die. You don't see people dying in their sleep of just old age anymore, or you rarely see it. So I would love to know your perspective, but before we do that, just give me a 30-second introduction of yourself, why you're on the show today, and then we go into the topic.
Thank you. Thank you, Alia. So I started my lifestyle change career 2002 by a chance. I was a normal business person. I was having my rights, understanding as everyone at the street. So it was a shock for me to be on a kind of water fasting or master detox, and suddenly I realized almost everything I knew about life was wrong. And that was a shock. And I spent months everywhere in the world in order to find how to live better. So, one of the items I realized was exactly what you mentioned, that I realized I was living much under the optimum quality of life. So I realized I could be, say, 50%, 100% better living than at what I was living. I couldn't wake up energetic. I couldn't have a kind of a peaceful mind. Sometimes when I went to the sleep, I couldn't feel that I can disconnect of the day, the issues of the day, etc. I was very little conscious about what I'm drinking, what I'm eating, etc. So that was very normal behaviors for me, and I thought I was a good citizen of the world. But suddenly, after this few months of going around and experiencing different kind of better living exercises, I realized I have a lot to learn. And it was a pity to learn that at the age of 46. I would love to learn it at the age of 5, 6, 7. Then I should have a much better life all those years. But anyhow, late, but that's still okay. So I started at the age of 46 this type of life journey, life hacking journey, finding how to live better, etc. And because I'm an engineer and businessman in the background, I started with try to understand why do we arrive in that situation that we leave bigger part of our life quality potential on the table. We don't use a big part of our good quality life capacity. So, and nowadays I see even people 10 years old, 20 years old, they really lost a bigger part of their life quality. You have very early age diabetes, burnout syndrome, anxiety, etc. at the age of 15, 17 years old people. So that's why I get motivated to find out. I found out that the main reason is we are surrounded with a system, commercial and social system, which is not in parallel with our genuine, original, code or reason for being in this world. So we are here to feed ourselves, our organs, our body, but we eat for our pleasure. So we are having a mismatch. So the reason should be getting into nutrition, so we have better functioning body. But what we do, we don't get into nutrition, we get into some kind of indulgence items, maybe mainly cream, sugar, etc., to make us indulged, happy. And then we lose a big part of our health because of that reason. So I see the commercial world around us pushes us to quick wins, cash, long shelf time, and everything else, forcing us from staying away from the nutrition, getting stuck with products, and those products are just commercial items, have nothing to do with my eyes, my heart, my liver, etc., etc. So that was one of the problems I saw, and I tried to address that problem. I said, okay, I need to get nutrition in order to not be deficient in nutrition. I need to get good stuff in my body in order to not to accumulate toxic elements in my body. And I need to get cleansed, and I need to find ways of how to clean my body, etc. So the first problem I see around myself was a mismatch between our need of nutrition and what we get as a food or as a, commercial food offered to us in the restaurants, etc. So if I may wrap it up, that gives us a responsibility to be selective, to care about for the food or for the cleansing of body. So we need to take care of ourselves really, rather than being a revolving door and being, turning here and there just because of the commercial advertisements, just because of the culture, routine, or the menus of the restaurants, etc., etc. So that was one mismatch area, which I believe is a bigger part of why do we suffer or why we are subject to less good quality of life than what we could have. Like you said in the opening, that life could be as good as first day until the very last day, that you could, before the night you die, before that night you could have, driving your car, play with your grandchildren, cook your food, etc. And you die peacefully over a night. Now people dies over 80 years or 60 years, bit by bit, day by day, percent by percent. So that's why it's very important that we understand that we have a responsibility if we want to live better life, going for more clean food, clean body, better nutrition, avoid toxic elements, avoid deficiency. The second area I realized was the mentally, we are, born or engineered by God that we should experience per day few incidents, triggers. So because we have two ways of being in life. One way is fight or flight. So either we run away or fight and try to survive. The other way is rejuvenation. That two state, fight and flight, which is stress. The other one is rejuvenation, to rebuild your body. So what happened I'm born 1956. So my first 15, 20 years was reasonably, the society was so hectic.
Can you
like
repeat
my
that?
father
Was
maybe
reasonably what? Can you repeat that?
I mean, when I was young, up to first 15, 20 years of my life, I was born and grown in Istanbul, and it was reasonably okay. I was in Stockholm for studies at the age of 17, etc. Still, it was a peaceful life. So we didn't have so many stressful moments per day.
Yeah.
But I'm comparing now, after 40 years, to 2018, suddenly we arrived into a society, number of triggers, number of incidents which makes our mind disturbed, puts us into stress, fight and flight mode, goes at least few hundred or few thousand. So, I mean, normally we are created for having a stressful moment, like a lion approaching us, or we are missing food, or we are having a difficult, conditions, geologically, or say natural difficulties, etc. It could be cold, too hot, no water, etc. That was the type of stress we were created for. Suddenly, we are into the stress, how to pay the invoice, if my daughter is going to be in that school or not, if whoever is going to have a successful interview, and what happened in Facebook, or somebody has had a Twitter post which was that, and Trump has said that, or somebody killed a dog, or whatever. You get millions of on the traffic. You have somebody pushing you out, or at the side. In the restaurant, they give you, say, not good service. So suddenly, instead of 5, 6, 7 incidents, we started to get few hundred of them. And we don't have enough time to relax between the incidents. That's why we arrived into something called chronic stress. So chronic stress is that we fight and flight our whole life. And now suddenly, after all these years, this become as important as food, nutrition, because when you're in fight and flight, your body goes into survival mode, stops every other activity, anti-aging stops, everything else stops, and you get worn out. So suddenly we are into a life where we need to learn how to manage our social or psychological presence in this world. I mean, it's not good enough you manage your food, but you need to manage your presence with everything else. Like I had a raw food chef in my company. He was very good guy. He only eaten raw food, but he get crazy when internet was cut off. So you see suddenly a guru being the best person in the world, etc., etc., he get mad because he didn't have internet. You know, it doesn't make good that you eat the green juice or drink green juice, do this and that, and then you get mentally disturbed because there's no internet, and all the benefits of the food has gone. And all this is now really our life. A lot of stress created because of whatever around us, and don't really justify. It's not justified. So this is the second reason I believe we leave a bigger part of our life quality on the table, that we don't enjoy the full-fledged life quality, optimum life quality we should have. And all these 18 years, really, I've seen on myself that I have improved my life quality in all aspects. I have better relations. I feel better. I'm very good using my physical body. And all this is, I mean, if you take your responsibility for food, if you take your responsibility for your mental health, suddenly you really experience big, even you lost first few, say 40, 46 years, suddenly you get so good improvement. You enjoy life in another degree. The third item is easy to understand. Our body is made for moving. So we need to move. We need to, say, get our blood and our lymphatic system in circulation. We need to put pressure on our bones. We need to stretch our muscles. All this is very important for our health. But what happened? We are resilient. We are just sitting now. We are just sitting in the job or sitting in the car or sitting in the, say, home. And our body is very little used. I can give you an anecdote. When I was the first time in this place, by that time was called Spa Samui in Thailand. First time there, I learned what is life, how I should handle. And there was somebody, program leader over there, and he tried to get me moving, touching the floor, etc. I was not, say, longer than my knees, and he said, "Oh, sorry, you are handicapped." You know, first time I'm into this type of thing, and I started to negotiate as a businessman. Look, but I'm not handicapped, etc. So I explained I do gym and walk 1 hour, spring one. And then he said, okay, I understand you're handicapped, but you don't need wheelchair. So it was the deal. I said, okay, this is reasonable. I'm handicapped, but now, for example, I have really far more flexibility, strength, etc. So I would say I'm 63 years old, but I would never feel lack of my physical ability compared with 17 years age. So flexibility is moving your body is also a mismatch which we need to address. Finally, we live in an environment. The environment is, I mean, because of commercial reasons or other fashion reasons, etc., became not human friendly. I mean, we have all the chemical stuff around us. Wherever we are in the best hotel, they have painted with the chemicals. The floor is chemical detergent. Air conditioning is not natural, and everything else there. Suddenly we are in the city. So the environment is also a fact of deteriorating our, say, life quality. So we need to address environment, at least 1 or 2 set, like for example, we should put a air ionizer in our bedroom, or care about the electromagnetic smoke. Don't get the telephone into my room, or keep it away, and try to use headphones rather than putting the phone on your ears. So the environmental things like drinking good quality water, high pH water, good quality water, etc. So environmental factor for the whole picture. But I would say that the food side solved, we have the mental health side solved. We need to move a bit, and we need to have a kind of good understanding how to optimize our environmental, say, well-being. Yeah. And this is the, say, mismatch between what we are subject to, what we should experience. And this responsibility going from the commercial existing life offerings into the healing life offerings. Thanks, and we get some guidance. That's that we get some guidance. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you before we wrap up, how would you convince somebody, because you're talking about making an investment in your health at the moment so that you can improve in your life, so you can have better years as you grow older rather than worse years. How would you convince somebody that believes, or maybe even your old self who used to believe that I'm here to be happy, I want to eat to be happy, I want to drink to be happy, I'm watching my TV programs, I'm on my phone, it makes me happy. Why do I need to make this investment now? We're all going to die. Why do I care how I will die? How would you phrase it to them if they don't see the value in it?
I was having the same question. Yeah. When I started this, I had a lifestyle, and that lifestyle had the rights of it, and then I entered gradually into a new lifestyle. So first of all, you need to have an insight. You need to have an understanding. Why do you need to make this change? Like, for example, for my case, I tried to really experience. Take an example. I like something called panini. I loved panini. And I said, okay, panini is so beautiful, etc. And then I said, okay, let me have a real understanding of panini. After what I have experienced, I went into chewing course, and I went into something, how to get connected with your food. So I made the simple exercise. I put the panini, a bite of panini in my mouth, closed my eyes, and chewed 40 times. And I suddenly see that I really cannot eat it. It becomes like a gummy ball. It's awful. And I have to throw it away. So then I realized what I'm doing, I'm suffering. I'm really putting a big burden to my body to just have the feeling of enjoying the burnt bread and fat and dairy, cheese, etc. because I don't prepare it for digestion. I don't chew enough in order to enjoy the food. I chew 3-4 times and swallow it and drink after something. And I personally believe I solved the problem and enjoyed it. But there starts a problem, because the problem is solved, you enjoyed yourself mentally, but a physical problem starts because that food entering into your alimentary tract will create a long-term problem. Like you will have digestion problems, you will have toxicity, you have etc. Especially when I developed my ability, mindfulness ability, so I could feel my body, I could suddenly feel how much burden it means, it carries every time I eat not reasonably good food. So you can feel it. Before I didn't feel, because I was invaded by everything outside. I mean, I was thinking about everything else than what I'm eating, how it makes in a kind of journey in my body. Now, suddenly I could feel how the journey is. I could feel that this is really a big harm to our body. And in our religion, you know, that's the most important jewelry is your health. Sure. I mean, the God has given the health to you to take care of, taken care of by yourself in the best format. And suddenly I see that I enjoy a lot of things without taking the consequences, without caring about what the damage it does. And coming back to what you told me, I went to UK and I met the oldest lady of UK. in London. It was 2008 or something like that. And it was, she was about 106 years old or something like that. And she was bedbound. She was in the bed last 10 years or whatever. It was not alive. It was a kind of conserving her before the ceremony, keeping her a kind of in shape before a ceremony to be happening, say, after she stops breathing. So, I mean, that's not life. And I see a lot of people at the age of 20, 25 years age, and they cannot go up 1 floor, 2 floors. They cannot enjoy, they cannot play with their children. They cannot, I mean, enjoy the real goodness of life. I mean, there are a lot of things life offers, and they are stuck to a very limited of them. And the only enjoyment becomes eating and a life based on sugar and some cream, etc., etc. But that's a very limited experience in the life. Life has so many beauties, and just recognizing 1 or 2 of them and living 90 of them out is not a right choice. At least it was my way of understanding it. I said, okay, Ersin, yeah, you enjoy the panini, you enjoy Kobe beef, you enjoy this and this, but in reality, do you really enjoy it? And is it really good enough for having a life for? I mean, that's a good question. And my answer was, no, I could enjoy a lot of other things. I still eat panini. I still eat meat, but I eat reasonably less. Like, for example, I eat maybe once a month meat, or once every 2 other months. Fish, I eat maybe every 2 weeks. So cheese, maybe I eat once a week. And panini, maybe I eat twice a month. So I'm not missing anything. Whatever I want, I really eat. The only difference is they were 100% of my diet. Now they are less than 20%. So I also introduced in my life something called intermittent fasting. So I have a 6 to 8 hours eating interval per day. Other than that, I'm fasting, just taking liquids, etc. So that also helps a lot, because I give my body a chance to recover. And I squeeze the eating, reasonably healthy eating into those hours that boost my life also. So my happiness in life become multi-sided. So it was only drinking and eating. And now I have other things to be happy over, because that's a limited part of my happiness, but I have much better alternatives, which gives me more meaning, fulfillment in life.
Yeah. And I think this is a wonderful place to end this episode on, because you talk about the finding other sources of joy in your life. And I want to talk to you about where can someone start if at the moment their joy is in the food. Like, how do you become mindful enough that you understand that food is not the only source of joy, it's not the only source of comfort, but we'll do that in the next episode. So please don't go away. And for our viewers, you can leave your comments below in the episode. I'd love to know what you think about what we discussed today and how you feel the way forward is. And make sure to watch the next episode as well. Thank you for watching.